Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots. With me as always is Andrew Lee. And man, you know what, bro? We're covering Fall Brawl 96 today. And this
Yeah,
is a show that's so good that you want to watch the next Nitro to see if the past might be different. Like, it's so good that you're like, if I watch, maybe I didn't remember things the right way, and they're gonna end this storyline the way they should have. But the sad reality is they didn't, and we're still here, and we still have to watch Logan Paul versus AJ Styles in a week. But dude, I love this show. What did you think of this show off the bat?
I don't think it's as good as you think it is.
Really?
Yeah, there's parts of it that are good, but there's
Mhm.
parts of it that are not good. And like while it's still better than like a lot of the
WWE.
pay-per-views we were watching in the 90s, mid 90s, I
Mhm.
would well the one we I don't think it was better than Bash the Beach, which was the one right
No, it's
before.
not better than Bash at the Beach. No,
Yeah.
that's true.
Uh,
Yeah,
hmm
but I still think it's better than SummerSlam '96.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, WCW is cooking at this point, right?
And
They're just
it's better than I didn't see it, but from the highlights, it's better than this main event is better than the Dynasty main event.
what was the Dynasty main event at AEW? I didn't
Swerve
even know there was
versus
a pay-per-view.
Swerve versus Mox, and the Young Bucks cost
Oh
Swerve the
yeah, that's right. And Swerve didn't win. Moxie's still the champion, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah, possibly. This wasn't like we'll get into it, but this is not. I don't think this was amazing or anything. But Ball Brawl, 1996. It's a War Games. It says, "Want to play with the big boys in a cage?" That has got to be one of the worst taglines I've ever heard for a wrestling event. It sounds very sexual.
So Bischoff had no control. I don't understand how this worked. Bischoff had no control over the promotions.
Yeah.
Uh, Turner Home Video did all these posters, and they also did all the pay-per-view commercials. And they did not consult with anybody. They would give WCW a thing, and they would just have to put it out there. And he said that's Bischoff had said that's one of the biggest flaws they had, because lots of the times the promotion did not match the feel of the show, the feel of Nitro
Mhm.
at the time, and the feel of the story they're trying to tell. And yeah, the tagline "Want to play with the big boys." It was always like the
In
people
their
making this,
cage.
but in a cage, the
In their
people
cage.
making these posters did not watch the show. They just
hmm
were like, "What's Fall Brawl? Oh, it's four on four in a cage." Ooh, okay, you know.
Yeah. It does sound super weird, but all right. It takes place, Fall Brawl takes place September 15th in 1996 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. 11,300 people are in attendance, and the pay-per-view buys are 230,000 pay-per-view buys. Let's do a little comparison. What was Fall Brawl's pay-per-view buy like the year before, 1995? 95,000. That is a crazy jump, dude, right? That is a crazy jump in pay-per-view buys. That's like more than doubling. That's more than doubling what you did previous year.
But that's not counting the max numbers, by the way. I heard 9 million people ordered Fall Brawl '95 on Max.
Yeah, of course, the max numbers. People always forgetting the max number. Doesn't matter what the ratings are. That's the max number. Um,
Yeah.
but so we know Fall Brawl 1996 is doing better than what they did previously. How is it comparing against the rivals WWF at the time? Well, WWF in the same month of September, they're doing In Your House Mind Games in Philly, and they drew 13,000 people. So still drawing more people in attendance than WCW, but pay per view buys 120 thousand pay per view buys. So it's drawing less on pay per view for sure. You know,
Mhm.
that's where the money's at too. You know,
Are Whether you like this show or don't like this show, I think the one thing you agree with me is WCW is clearly the better promotion. all across the board right
Yeah,
now in 1996, the fall of '96.
I'll agree. I will agree with you 100% on that.
It's just more fun to watch. Even the things that stink are more fun to watch than the things in WWF that rule. And it's the way, and it's like it's like you can't compete. You can't compete with with what we watched tonight with Shawn Michaels is sexy. You can't.
Yeah, and a large part of the reason why WCW is doing so great is the NWO, which the show pay-per-view begins with an NWO recap with the newest member of the NWO, Ted DiBiase, who is their
Those two
financial.
new members.
Oh, two new members. That's right, two new members. Ted DiBiase has now jumped ship. He is now in WCW. He's not a wrestler, but he's like the financial backer of the NWO.
Mhm.
And WCW original, the Giant, has turned, and he is a member of the NWO. And supposedly Sting. Sting has also turned his back on his best friend Lex Luger and has joined the NWO. This is what's leading up to this pay per view. We got Tony Schiavone, American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and Bobby the Brain Heenan on commentary. I will say these opening recap montages that both pay-per-view, both WCW and WWF start doing are great because they really do get you in the mood to like, I can't wait to watch this pay-per-view, you know? It
I kind of wish. You know what's so crazy to me? I don't know. I don't watch the new. I haven't watched the AEW pay per view since I think November. But well, I was at the arena for that one. Maybe even yeah. But I'm surprised AEW doesn't do like these videos. I like the fact that these videos will tell you really quick the story of the company in the past month. Um, and it gets you if you haven't been watching, it like gets you prepared. It's like all you need to know in 40 seconds to enjoy the show. You know, and
yeah,
the last couple of times I've watched AEW pay-per-views, it goes right to a DraftKings commercial and it goes to the first match. And I don't know, I like these videos.
I do too. It does get you like if you're coming in cold, meaning like you don't know what's going on and you don't know
Mhm.
what's on the pay-per-view. Like I'm watching these cold. It it brings me up to speed, but it also makes me excited to like, oh yeah, actually I'm looking forward to this. This sounds good. So it does two things. Everybody should really do these again. Let's go to our first match. It is a grudge match. Um, Diamond Dallas Page versus Chavo Guerrero. Here's one thing though. I don't know why this is a grudge match, so I wish they kind of did a little bit of
Well,
warm-up.
Chavo is fighting on behalf of Eddie.
I know that, but I would like it if they maybe before every match they did a little bit of it, like these little
Mhm.
promo videos.
Because
Kind of
we've never seen Chavo before, too. At this, I mean, obviously we have in the real
yes,
world.
because
But
Chavo Guerrero Jr. This is his pay-per-view debut, so I don't even like if you're just watching the pay-per-view, just like who the hell is this guy, right? So as Ray mentioned, they're fighting. It's a grudge match because his uncle Eddie Guerrero is involved in this. These guys fight on the floor, and then Chavo what do you call it? He puts on an armbar on DDP, and Dusty Road goes, "He's trying to uncle him. You know what uncle means, right?" And Bobby the Brain Heenan's like, "Yeah, it's the opposite of aunt." And I like that. That was to me that was pretty funny.
wait,
So
did you hear Bobby Heenan did a joke about Eddie Guerrero's mom's chili?
oh yeah, yeah, that was good too. Um, yeah, but you know, Bobby the Brain Heenan's one beer in, he's pretty sharp still. You know. Uh,
He's not drunk on this show.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I was gonna say I was listening, trying to listen to see when he gets drunk. He didn't sound drunk at all in any of this.
No, he's not drunk. He's not drunk.
Yeah,
I think you know what it is. I think he had no respect. I think he had no respect for the fact that they shoved them at a biker rally. But he has respects for arena shows. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
think he
that's
drank because he was like, "This is stupid that we're doing this."
yeah, that's I understand where he will be coming from, but that is also still very unprofessional, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So,
I
back
think
to
that's
this
right.
match.
Saying that's
Yeah,
probably what it.
yeah. Back to this match. DDP. He does a quick top rope clothesline on Chavo, and he starts a very long beatdown process. Um, there's a point where DDP standing and he has Chavo Guerrero like on his knees, and he starts simulating like a blowjob that he's giving, like Chavo's giving him a blowjob. Did you see that part?
Yeah.
And then right when he does that, Chavo starts fighting back because he didn't like that. He's like, "I'm nobody's bitch." He starts fighting back. Chavo's still very. This is a very very young rookie Chavo, so he's kind of like during his comeback he mistimes like a springboard, and he he's a little on the green side, but it's all right. He still hits like two great top rope maneuvers, but he can't put him away. DDP chucks Chavo over the top ropes to the second ring, and then hits a spinning gut wrench sit out power bomb, which was amazing. That people, I know people shit on DDP saying like he only got where he got because he was Eric Bischoff's friend, but like DDP was doing some great moves, like he was still a good wrestler. Anyways, uh not only does he have that kind of great move like the gut wrench power bomb, he also hits the cutter, which is fantastic. People love the cutter even before he turned babyface and fought the NWO. When he hits the cutter, people love it, and he wins the match. um I give it a B. This was a good opening match. Good showing by Chavo too for on his pay-per-view debut. What did you think? Did you like this?
Yeah, this was very good. You know what I think helped DDP take it to the next level was wrestling with the Guerreros, because I think Chavo, and this has been proven with his career, Chavo is now like the wrestling coordinator on so many different TV shows and so many different movies
Movie.
and stuff,
Yes.
like Iron Claw and the Glow Show. I think the Guerreros have proven they're fantastic teachers, and I would not be surprised that DDP sat with Chavo and Eddie, on the road and soaked up information from them like a sponge. And DDP has said, I've learned a lot from Eddie. And I think also you can learn a lot from Chavo, even at this age. You can learn a lot from Chavo. And Chavo Guerrero, he's one of the guys I think never really got his due. I think the problem with Chavo is a lot of times they try to make him a weird character, and I don't think he has it in him. I think he's more like a Benoit than he is a Jericho. What I mean by that is I think his character is I'm a wrestler, I'm gonna kick your ass. I don't think he's a Kerwin White. I don't think he's Eddie. When they tried to make him like where I'm gonna steal things with Eddie, in WWE, right?
Hmm?
I also don't think he's like, remember they had him with Pepe, the fucking wooden
Yeah,
horse?
the horse. Yeah, yeah, yeah. In WCW. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a character. He's a wrestler's wrestler. And I think he's a very underrated guy, but right off the bat, he's very, very young here, and he's bringing it. And yeah, I enjoyed this match. And you're right, DDP does get the credit he deserves. I think it's because, and to be honest with you, I wasn't watching, but when I heard that they were main eventing pay-per-views with Savage versus DDP, I was like the fucking manager. Like, I
Hmm.
understand they're hot, but that's fucking pathetic. I'm not watching. Yeah, I kind
In
of
a
think like,
way, in a way, both guys are kind of underrated. Chavo and DDP.
yeah. You know what it is? I always complain about the Carolines thing, but I did the same thing to DDP for years, where I'm like, well, you were a manager and a commentator. Why
That's
would I
true.
take you seriously against Savage? When what he's doing tonight in September, this is why you take me serious when I fucking wrestle Savage. All right. I'm working to get better. And yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're both underrated. I think a lot of things, people do this against comics too. I'll say how hard Amy Schumer worked, and people will be like, well, because Chuck Schumer's her uncle. And it's like, she still worked hard, bro. And I think the same thing with DDP. Yeah, he was Eric Bischoff's friend, but he's fucking bringing it in this match.
Wow. Ray Gooch just had a complete self-awareness moment where he just came to a
About how I treated
realization.
DDP my whole life. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, oh my gosh, I was guilty of the same thing. See, wrestling can teach you a lot, everybody. It can teach you
Yeah.
a lot about yourself.
DDP yoga can teach you a lot, brother.
You know what? It does work. I have a friend, a comic who did do it, and he lost a ton of weight, and he actually admits it was DDP yoga. I was like, wow, look at that.
Look at that.
Speaking
Look at
of
that.
yoga, we got the Harlem Heat crew. We're talking about the Harlem Heat tag team, Sherry Martel and Colonel Rob Parker. They're all up in that CompuServe chat room, and they're with the guy who's typing, and they're harassing him as he's talking to the fans. So these chat rooms, no longer wrestlers talking to the fans. I guess nobody knows how to type. It's like they get like a guy who types to people, and I guess you go, yo, tell this fan I said this. Is that how it works?
I think that's how it. Bro, you remember these are guys who were born in the '60s and '70s. You think they want to sit there and type out things?
Uh,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
they're not used to. Dude, nowadays, yeah. If AEW said to Will Ospreay, can you go in like a Reddit or AEW Reddit room and yeah, he'll sit
No,
there and fucking tweet all
Osprey
day.
did it. Osprey, I don't know if he could.
Well, yeah,
Osprey's
but
Osprey has admitted himself he's not. He has like dyslexia and everything. He's not really a smart dude.
well, he tweets a lot, so
Oh,
um,
does he? No.
yeah.
He got the CompuServe guy. It's the CompuServe guy doing it for him.
So good, yeah. Dude, I wish there was a website. You think there's a website that saves like these chats? I would love to like reread like the full Brawl '96 chats.
Dude, I'm
What the
sure there is. There's got to be, dude. There's got to be. There's no way
you
there's
you
these chats
got to
got.
just think about like where you have to be in '96 to do this. You have to have ordered the pay-per-view, you have to have internet in your home, and then you have to sit at a computer so you can ask like ice cream questions. Like the level of dedication to get into that room. I would love to see what those type of losers are asking the wrestlers.
And it wasn't fast. It wasn't
And
fast
it
back
wasn't
then
fast,
either.
no.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, it
not
was
like
done.
today. You have to really put a lot of effort to do it.
It
I'm
took a
I'm
couple of minutes.
surprised. I'm sh- I give them credit, man, because like they were doing so, like if you really think about it, like wrestling was doing social media. There almost should be a documentary about how fast wrestling went to the internet because they were doing social media before social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they were. Um, I think people do take that for granted in that wrestling is always at the forefront of the newest technology. So,
Yeah.
for example, WWE, WWF they were the first ones who was really on board with the pay-per-view concept. You know, pay-per-view
Hmm.
was not always something that existed, but when it became a thing, they were one of the first things on it.
Yeah.
WWE was one of the first ones to go create their own streaming channel. Do you remember
Hmm.
this network? Before anyone else was doing it, they were like, "Let's get on it." And then sure enough, everybody has their own, but they were years ahead of everybody else.
And bro, think about it. WCW Live and Bite This were like the first two podcasts. Like, like WCW Live was like it had a studio,
mhm.
and you could call in and stuff, and that was every single night. It wasn't just after Nitro and Thunder. And like, was the NBA doing that on the internet? Was who was doing that besides WCW and WWF? And WWF, you could get video. You get video, and it's Kevin Kelly sitting with like Matt Hardy in a studio, and that's
Yeah,
every podcast.
I think like one of the things they're doing now, where they're having like specific YouTube channels, like they now have a WCW one, and they had the Vault one, right? Like where they're dedicated to just like these like gems and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if other things start doing stuff like that, you know, where they
Yeah.
have specific genre YouTube channels just to get like a fan base going, to get more people interested.
Well, like I'll give you one that I know would fucking be gangbusters, a Disney Afternoon YouTube channel.
Yeah, oh
And then
yeah, I would fucking see that. Yeah,
and you know how like the only thing is, okay, so when the show goes through a commercial, that's when you put in the YouTube commercials,
hmm
and you can
and here's the
skip or
thing:
watch.
you don't put every episode on. You just put in like the way the vault works is you put in like what you just like select something and you put it in,
Yeah.
like one episode or you do one segment or something like that. And I think you're right. I think that would actually be something I would 100% check into every once in a while. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know. Anyways, we got to get back to this pay-per-view. Mean Gene Okerlund, he takes the time after the first match to recap everything that's been happening since the attack started on May 27th, 1996. That was the date that Scott Hall, the outsider, came to Nitro, and they have never looked back since. All the issues with the NWO since the attack leading to the War Games. We're talking DiBiase showing up, the Giant turning, and possibly Sting. This is why we're doing the War Games. Great recap by Mean Gene Okerlund that really just like goes into further detail to get you salivating for the main event. But before we get to that, we got to get through some more matches, including the second match, which is a submissions match against two former tag team partners, Scott Norton and Ice Train, who comes out with a really fat Teddy Long. God, Teddy Long looks so different here. Did he do DDP yoga?
He was eating canes too many days in the road.
Yeah, was he? Did he do DDP yoga to lose all that weight? Because he looks so
Well,
different.
he loses the weight by like 97, 98. I don't know. I think he was just enjoying himself too much.
Yeah. So these two had a match the last pay-per-view that was not good. In this one, and in the last one, Scott Norton really dominated the match. In this one, Ice Train dominates early on, but gets no reaction because nobody really likes Ice Train. I'm talking about the fans here. Scott Norton then puts on an armbar, and then he takes control of the match. And then Ice Train puts on an armbar because remember it's a submission match. Scott Norton, he is in control, and then he pulls Teddy Long into the ring, which allows Ice Train to put on the full Nelson, like the Master Lock from Chris Masters, onto Scott Norton to win the match. This is a C match to me. This is a basic average. This is a television match. I hope this feud between Scott Norton and his former tag team partner Ice Train is over. I can't take any more of these.
I know you see a lot. We're going to see a lot more Scott Norton in the NWO. I don't think we see any more of Ice Train. I think well, you know what? I'll say this for them. This was their best match. Still wasn't that great, but it was definitely their best match.
So, I know you don't watch Dark Side of the Ring, but I do, and they had one about Ludwig Borga, and before Ludwig Borga went to WWF, he was making a name for himself in Japan, right? New Japan Pro Wrestling, believe it or not. And
that's crazy to me. Dave Meltzer gave him 7 stars.
Yeah, he legit got in a fight with Scott Norton, and that's why he had to leave because Scott Norton was the more popular one, and they were like, "We can't have these two guys here."
Also, I don't think you're going to win in a fight against Scott Norton.
Yeah, Scott Norton's a legit badass. Yeah, he's a legit badass. But yeah, little fact that if you guys want to know, Scott Norton kicked Ludwig Borga's ass in Japan.
You know what, dude? That makes me a Scott Norton mark. I mean, if you're gonna beat someone's ass, let it be Ludwig Borga. Come on, man.
Yeah, let it be Ludwig Borga. Yeah. But that was a good one. That guy was a real scumbag, Ludwig Borga.
He's a piece of shit.
He was a piece of shit, yeah.
The only time I've really ever heard Bruce Pritchard kind of like really like that was a dumb fuck move was when they asked like why do you think Vince wanted to push Ludwig Borga, and because Bruce Pritchard was like, I said, how did you rate him as a wrestler? He goes, I don't even rate him as a man. And then why did Vince hire him? He goes, you have to ask Vince. I have no clue why you would ever want that guy in your building, let alone on your company. And
so they kind of go into this in the documentary. The reason Jim Cornette, they interviewed Jim Cornette and Jim Ross in this, and the reason why they said the reason why Vince hired him was because Junior loved foreign heels. He just loved like foreigners. He loved the bad guy foreigner, right? Like Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov. He loved the foreign heel, and Ludwig Borga, he had the accent and everything, and he had like a good look, and he was like, "Oh, this is another foreign guy with an accent. We just like gonna push like this is like perfect. I want a foreign like a nemesis till that eventually this guy, goes up against Lex Luger and so forth. So that's why they said that Vince hired him. But they were saying like they didn't know about the SS tattoo. When they found out, they were just like, what the fuck? Who did we hire? They claimed they didn't know that. They said they didn't know about the SS tattoo. They didn't. I just thought it was really
I have another theory.
Mhm.
Vince hired him because of the SS tattoo.
That's possible too. That is possible too.
It's
He
like that.
he Ludwig Borga got his start in Herb Abrams' UWF. He played a
Mhm.
Viking there, and I think that's where they said they first saw him or something. But
Yeah.
I can totally see Junior hiring him because of the SS tattoo. Absolutely, yeah. Um. So anyway, Scott Norton, good job kicking this
Hold
match.
on, hold on, hold on, hold
Yeah.
on. I'm going to give you a hypothetical. If
Okay.
Ludwig Borga got over and it's 1998, I could see a scenario where he becomes a neo-Nazi and starts cutting pro-Hitler promos as one of the top heels. If Vince found a path to get away with it, Vince was going to do it. Like, I
Yeah.
want to put serious money. Vince, I'm just going to say both Vinces, Russo and McMahon.
Yeah. By the way, if you guys don't know, Ludwig Borga, after wrestling, after WWE fires him, he goes back to his country of Finland, gets on their Finland Gladiator show, kind of like American Gladiators. He becomes a huge star where he even records albums. Then he runs for politics on a anti-immigration, kind of like a neo-Nazi platform
Oh,
party.
and then he meets Elon Musk and they have sex.
Yeah, they said it's equivalent of like what Donald Trump was running here. And he
Mm-hmm.
actually gets into parliament. He actually wins, gets into parliament. So that neo-Nazi thing, like he they said he would drop N-words. Like he has television interviews and he goes, if you're an N-word, you're an N-word. Like he just says it like that. It's just like he's crazy. Dude, people in Finland, a lot of them voted for him, and they said a lot of people in Finland were surprised, and some people were going like, "Well, he was saying what we were all really thinking." And I was like, "Eesh, I never going to Finland. Fuck that." By the
Well,
way,
I mean, they're saying it here and we're stuck here, so.
yeah, you got a
Yeah.
cut on your hand.
Where?
When you had your hand in front of the camera before, it looked like you had a cut in your hand, but maybe it was just like the light. Maybe it was probably just the light. Forget
You
it.
know what? I'm cutting myself because I'm so excited for Jey Uso versus Gunther in a week. I just can't wait.
Well, we got to go to our third match. This is Ludwig Borga's favorite match. It is the Mexican Championship belt match. This is actually the AAA Championship belt, but they call it the Mexican belt in WCW. Um, Besides Chavo Guerrero, there's another pay-per-view debut on this, and in this match, Juventud Guerrero. He's making his pay-per-view debut here. Um,
Yes, and
he's
he
wearing
and
a mask.
he walks into the steel stairs. Did you see
Oh
that?
my god! Oh my god! It's the funniest thing. So
Bro, he's so
Juventud
funny.
Yeah, Juventud, he's masked. It's not the juice yet. It's just Juventud Guerrera, which stands for like the last I think it stands for like the last warrior or something. Or young warrior. And he's wearing a mask and he's super excited. He's so hyped. He's like running to his entrance. Yeah, and he's trying to like do camera time. And he's basically kind of like running backwards. And as soon as he turns around, he trips over the steel steps of the ring. And it's the funniest thing, to the commentator's credit, they don't like shit on him right away, which I think I would have done. If Jesse Ventura was there, he would have shit on him right away, right?
Dude, Chavo, Juventud is unintentionally one of the funniest fucking wrestlers of all time because he doesn't try to be, but he's so fucking funny. I remember my friend used to do an impression of him in '98, and my friend, like, he's not a lucha guy, and he would because at one time when after he lost the mask, he would go into the cameras going, I love you," and he would always do that like in school. Bro, he's so fucking funny, Juventud. I wish someone tapped into it. He could have been like a massive, massive star.
No,
He's,
I disagree. I disagree. There's something wrong with Juventud. Some
but
I,
but
don't
like
get
that's
me
what makes
wrong.
him funny.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He is very entertaining to watch, but I don't think he could have ever been a massive star because he has this problem. So there's something wrong with him mentally. He's like, who's
Oh,
that?
drug.
Who's it? Bruce Hart, Bret Hart's older brother, who's got this like narcissistic personality.
Yeah,
Juventud has that. You can clearly see it even in this match.
because he
Um,
loves you.
yeah, I'm gonna go over it. So Juventud is making his pay-per-view debut, and he's going up against the Mexican champion Conan, who is now a vato. That's right. He got rid of all that lucha libre gear. Now he's wearing like fucking baggy pants, and he's got like the little fucking bowler hat on, and he's got like the plaids and stuff. He's a vato now. Comes out with the vato of all vatos, Jimmy Hart. It's like that doesn't make any sense to me, but all right. Um, Mike Tenay joins on commentary, and he goes, "You know, Conan's now in the Dungeon of Doom." And I'm like, why? Why is he like? It doesn't make any sense to me. He's not like a. He's not like a dark like supernatural character.
They
He's
were to their credit, they were kind of trying to change the Dungeon of Doom was. It was more like
oh
because
that
him
makes
and Team Sparks become a tag team and they're just like regular wrestlers. But I'll say this: Jimmy Hart, dude, whatever Jimmy Hart had in the '80s is so gone by now, and he just drags everyone down. Dude, Steve
yeah.
Austin in 1988 could have walked out with Jimmy Hart, and the pop would have died. Like people would have, oh, what the fuck, and like he would have got been. They would have been. This is what Jimmy Hart does. He doesn't get you cheered. He doesn't get you booed. He just gets silence.
Yeah, and he just doesn't like I'm not joking when I say Conan's new gimmick is he's like a vato, right? And
Yeah.
he's got this guy from Memphis like jumping around right next to him. It doesn't match. Like
No.
it doesn't match. It just looks weird. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like my brain can't comprehend what's going on here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's so bad that he's with
yeah,
them.
it's bad. And he's in the Dungeon of Doom. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't make any sense. So anyway, Conan's new gimmick is that he's no longer trying to be like the best wrestler, best luchador, trying to represent America. He's now a heel. He's just an asshole, and he plays it up here. He cheap shots Hoovy to begin the match, tosses him over the top rope to the floor, which gets a big pop because I guess we're in 1996 now, so people are just like the real rough shit now, and he Conan's trying to bring it to him. Hoovy fights back. He fights back by doing this great thing where um he jumps from like the top rope three different times and then he flips off it flips over. It's Hoovy's young Hoovy is very athletic. I will give him that. Hoovin too,
Very.
even though I'm sorry, what were you saying?
He's very hoopy.
Yeah. He does a tope onto Conan on the floor, but then Conan just power bombs him on the floor. And Conan just starts yelling at the camera, showing a lot of intensity from Conan. I like that. Hoovy hits another move on Conan on the ground, but then Conan just like backdrops Hoovy into the second ring's ring ropes. Basically, don't forget this is war game, so there's two rings set up side by side next to each other, and Conan grabs Hoovy in the other ring, and he power bombs him back into the first ring. It's a great power bomb. It looks hard, and when he does that, Bobby the Brain Heenan laughs because it's such a hard power bomb. Hoovy eats some more power bombs. He eats more German suplexes, and this was a good match up until this point. Somewhere along the line, where Conan's hitting power bombs and German suplexes, I don't know what's going on here, but Hoovy powders out. He just leaves the ring. He doesn't sell. He just leaves the ring and he almost walks away like he's fucking annoyed. Did you see this part?
Yeah.
And Conan doesn't go after him. It looks like a legit moment where Hoovy's like, "Fuck this," and he's frustrated with what's happening in the match. And remember, he just ate like three power bombs. He just walks it off like he's annoyed. Finally he decides to come back and he starts trying to work with Conan some more and he's trying to fire back, but it's short lived because the crowd just doesn't. I don't know how new Hoovy is to WCW at this point,
Very
but
good.
But the crowd doesn't give a shit about Hoovy. They just don't. They just really don't give a shit about him. So whenever he's doing these high flying moves, they're not really reacting. They're only reacting to Conan. And like Conan hits like a hard wheelbarrow suplex and they fucking go crazy for that. Hoovy starts trying to do bigger and bigger top rope moves, but because they're not getting any reactions. The more he does them, the sloppier they start looking. They're just like not hitting the points, and crowd is just so out of it. They're just not into it because they know it looks like shit. Conan finally hits his finishing move, which is called the power drive, which is kind of like a top rope um, crucifix powerbomb toss. He wins the match. This would have been an A match. It was up to a certain point where I was super into this match until that point where things just started falling apart. Because of that, I give it a B. It's still a great match. I love Conan's new character. This is what he was missing. He was missing
This is,
character.
this is who's meant to be.
Yes, this is who he's meant to be. But these two just lost chemistry. So unfortunately, this is not like a must-see match, but it's still a very good match. B. What did you think?
I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it, except for Jimmy Hart. Yeah, that moment was weird. The crowd doesn't care, but I care, and they are eventually going to care about these guys. It doesn't matter to me. Like it doesn't matter. They don't care about Juventud today because we're building a foundation for the future, and he has the talent to take it to the next level. So yeah, I enjoyed this match, and I enjoyed seeing Conan finally come into who he's meant to be. You know?
Yeah. So this shows me kind of like who he is. I think in this match, he wanted to like outshine Conan, but like that's not what your role is supposed to be here. You know,
You're
like
not.
Conan,
I'm sorry.
like no. Conan's supposed to destroy this guy. You know,
Hmm.
and I think Hoovy's ego couldn't take it. That's why he powders out and he's just trying to be flashy and flashy. And Conan's just like, dude, I got it. Like, it just. This is why I don't think Hoovy it would have ever been as be a big star because his ego would have always gotten in the way. He would have been like
Yeah,
an Austin
right.
Theory.
Like a 20. Well, I think also like he's young. He's like, he's young. I think also, this is what I thought when I first saw him in 1998. Oh, this is like a ghetto Rey Mysterio. Like this is
Yeah,
like the second, like if Rey Mysterio dies, we got to settle for this guy.
that's
So
a
I think,
very that's a very good that's a very good description of moving to in 1998. Actually,
yeah,
again,
like it's like,
again,
oh,
a
this,
Rey Mysterio.
yeah, it's like, oh, where, like, isn't like, and I think he probably is aware of that, Ray got there first, and I think a lot of people are like, yeah, this is, we have Rey Mysterio, we don't need you, and I mean, that's not racism, that's the way it is. I remember one time somebody said, oh, the industry has a comic book guy, it's Mike Lawrence, what do you have to offer? And it's like, okay, I'm like, that's we're not the same thing, but whatever. I think that's the same thing. It's like, well, we have Rey Mysterio. Like, who are you? So that probably weighs on him. But you know what? But what he needs. You okay there, Us?
Yeah, yeah,
Did Jimmy Uso come back? But all he needs is someone to get his head straight. All he needs is someone to be like, fucking get your head straight. He's 20. He's 20. He's gonna be a little fucking idiot. But the WCW, nobody got their head straight. I mean, fucking Kevin Nash's head wasn't straight. He was 40. So they were, Well, anyway, I enjoyed the match.
yeah. I enjoyed it still. I enjoyed it. Let's go to match number 4, and let's keep this string of pay-per-view debuts going. We got another debut, third debut in a row. Chris Jericho making his pay-per-view debut against his eternal enemy, Chris Benoit, who the crowd loves. This crowd loves Chris Benoit. Uh,
Yes.
they love him so much that they still love him even to this day, even after everything he's done.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. Vince and Hunter are just dicks. Like they really should just overlook the murders and put him in. But before The Rock and Batista and everyone else who didn't murder their family, he should be in because you know why? He has so many good matches in Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, it's true.
Dude, 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 I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know who I blame? You know who I blame for this Benoit? Like people still being like, "Oh, but Benoit." Da, da, da. Dave Meltzer, because I've heard so many podcasts, and this is like I'm talking like almost 20 years later, where Dave Meltzer's to talk about the Benoit thing. And you know what he always starts with? Okay, but he look, he was the greatest wrestler of all time. I mean, he was just his move like okay, none of that matters anymore, bro. He murdered somebody. None of that matters. Like let's talk
Somebody
about
murdered. He murdered two people. That's all.
he murdered his child, bro. Like
Yeah,
yeah, he was fantastic, but like dude, like let's fuck and because Meltzer and in his newsletters and in his editorial, he equals good work rate with being a good person, and that has brainwashed so many people. That has brainwashed so many people.
true. That. I think those are facts. I
Mhm.
will say this, and Chris Jericho has mentioned this multiple times that his greatest, one of his probably his greatest opponent, a dance partner, if you will, was Chris Benoit. And brother, they show it here. These guys trade back and forth moves. The crowd loves it. Uh, they do chops. They're actually no, they're doing back and forth moves. They're trading spots, but the crowd doesn't care until they start trading chops, which the crowd's like, yes, that's what we like. The fucking hard chops. Chris Benoit, he back suplexes Jericho off the apron. Um, but like it looks nasty, but Jericho luckily turns at the last minute and it doesn't like paralyze himself. Um, he just takes a beating from Chris Benoit in this, and this is what Juventud kind of should have been doing, just taking a beating, you know, um, because he's supposed to Chris Benoit's supposed to shine in this, right? So Jericho's just taking a beating. There's a point where Jericho's like reaching out like he's like trying to get some mercy, and Bobby the Brain Heenan says he's looking for the Shell Answer Man, which gets a pop from the commentary team. I didn't know what this fucking guy was. What the fuck is a Shell Answer Man? I had to look this up. Did you know what the Shell Answer Man was?
Well, Tony Schiavone tries to explain it,
Yeah,
and then he just looks like never mind. It's
yeah,
like it's an old commercial character.
yeah. Dusty loves it. He goes, "The Shell Answer Man," like he fucking like popped for that. Basically, it's this like advertisement the Shell gasoline did from the 60s all the way into the 80s. Fucking like 2 decades of this Shell Answer Man. More than that, maybe. Look it up if you guys want. You can find commercials on YouTube. Anyways, eventually at the end of this match, near the end, where Jericho's just taking a beating the whole time, Jericho starts firing back, right? But then he gets crossed up on the top rope, and then Benoit hits this hard back superplex off the top rope to win the match. This was a good match to me. I give this a B plus. I like this. I know Chris Benoit's a terrible human being, but I will agree with Chris Jericho that his best opponent had to have been Chris Benoit. I don't know.
Look,
Something
look,
about these two are great.
when I watch these old matches, I'm watching the content of the world. This yes, he's a piece of shit, but we just got to watch the content of what's going on in 1996. You know what I'm saying? We
Yes.
can't worry, dude. You know, I watched this match and I'm like, I wonder if they know. Did they know they had everything so perfectly mapped out? Because if I'm in 1996 and I'm sitting with Eric Bischoff and Kevin Sullivan and whoever, I'm like, these two guys, summer of 1998, they're going to be part of the force that takes out the NWO. You have everything so laid out here. Uh, I see a vision watching this show that in the summer of '98, DDP, Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho, and Chris Benoit, and we're not even talking about Sting. We're not even talking about Luger. We don't even know Goldberg showing up. Those are the four guys. That's the team that stops the NWO. And we're not even considering Dean Malenko or Eddie Guerrero. They had, dude, I'm like, they have, they had the next no. Yeah, they had the next 30 years mapped out because if you think about it, Chavo and Jericho are still wrestling and they blew it. These fucking guys killed it. And what a great match. And the finish came out of nowhere and I we need more of that. We need more of that. AEW should do a match where Will Ospreay beats somebody with a regular move instead of doing his 20-minute finish sequence. You know why? It conditions the crowd to know the match can end in any second. In fact,
Yeah.
I would tell WWF to do that at WrestleMania. And you
See,
need to have people because people now won't pay attention until the finishing sequences start because they
yeah.
know Will Ospreay's not going to beat this guy. Rhea Ripley's not going to beat this chick with a standard move. Benoit beats Jericho with a standard move. That continues you the rest of the card. Anything could end in any second. I need to pay attention.
Or just do that standard move from the top rope.
Yeah.
You know, like if he just did a suplex off the top rope to win. You're right, and it makes it devastating. And I agree, more wrestling matches should end like that today. The people who ruined it was WWE. They were the first ones.
WWE's the first one because the match doesn't until they start hitting their finishers. The match isn't actually a match.
Yeah, and I will say this. I agree with you that they really shit the bed because, like, this pay-per-view. I will give credit for this pay-per-view. This is like a showcase of all their new talent that they signed, the young guys. And what should have been happening was the NWO was taking out all the old regime of WCW, right? Like they're kicking Flair's ass, they're kicking Arn Anderson's ass, Sting, Lex Luger, Hogan. I mean not Hogan, Macho Man or whatever. So Flair and company, they go, we need some new blood to help beat NWO, and it should have been guys like Bill Goldberg was there because you need a big one. You needed a big guy. You did need a big guy.
Let's just say because we don't know what's going to happen, but that happened by accident. That literally happened. They didn't plan for that. But yeah, it should have been Jericho, Rey Mysterio, DDP.
You need some big guys because that was the problem though. A lot of these guys are small.
Yeah.
Maybe Scott Norton should have never been in the NWO.
Okay, so Scott Norton, that's one.
I would have put Harlem Heat. I would have made
Harlem Heat.
Yeah, because they were big too. They were big guys. Yeah, Harlem Heat, like Booker T. If you're not gonna use both for Harlem Heat, it's fine. Booker T. Right?
Booker T, DDP, Scott Norton, Benoit.
Chris Benoit for sure. I would have 100% Chris Benoit in there. I would have put Eddie Guerrero in there too. I would have.
Eddie Guerrero. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Ray. Yeah, Jericho. But I'm just saying, I'm watching this match and I'm like, okay, I understand they're not that big. Like Vince, Jericho's wrestling one-on-one with the Undertaker in WWF. No one's like, oh, look how small Jericho is. They bought it because Vince told you to buy it. Same thing. Benoit had one-on-one matches with Kane. He's defending the belt against Kane. He's defending the belt like he's wrestling Big Show, and people are just okay. Yeah, Benoit won. So it's because WCW was so short-sighted that we're not going to take Benoit seriously. Why can't Benoit beat Scott Hall? If Vince McMahon booked Benoit to beat Kevin Nash in 2003, none of us would have questioned it. We would have been like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and what you could have done is if these new batch of guys were the ones to save WCW and topple NWO, you know what you would have had? You would have had these guys become stars because of that.
Yeah.
You know? And you're right, they shit the bed. But in this pay-per-view, it's like a showcase of like the new guys that they have. And you know what else it is? This is the formula you were talking about done very well, which is you have the cruiserweight stuff in there to keep the matches entertaining, but then you're gonna top it off with the storyline aspect. This formula, this is like it's a good pay-per-view. It's got the formula that we're working on, you know?
Yeah.
And we're going to keep the pay-per-view debuts going with our match number 5. It is for the
1 second. Ooh. Okay, so the pay-per-view debuts continue with
Super Calo in the 5th match, the cruiserweight match. Now, I used to think Super Calo meant like super cool. I just found this out. Calo is the name of a band in Mexico. It was a really, really famous band in Mexico that's still around today. And the lead singer, so Calo's mask is made to look like the lead singer of this band. I didn't know. Did you know that?
Yeah, not till Mike Tenay said it on air.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mike Tenay's the one who tells us this. I was like, I did not know about this band, rock band called Calo. But he's facing Rey Mysterio, who is the champion. Rey Mysterio is walking out. He calls out Dean Malenko, who is not going to be on the show, but he's like, Dean Malenko, I want you, Dean Malenko. In the beginning of this match, Calo is just like taking control of this entire match. A fan shouts "boring" while this is happening, which I thought was pretty funny. Um, he hits a slingshot power bomb. Calo hits a missile drop kick from the ring to the floor, and then he does a somersault senton on onto Rey Mysterio on the floor. He's doing moves like that he shouldn't be doing because it's gonna like fucking ruin his. It's gonna like shorten his career, in my opinion.
But yeah,
But
well, did he? Is he big in Mexico? Is he still wrestling in Mexico, by the way?
no, no, he's not big. I don't think he's big anymore. I don't even think he's wrestling anymore. He kind of wrestled an indie style. Like there's
Hmm.
no even in lucha libre, which is like more fast paced, there's still like storytelling involved, right? They're still selling, but this guy's not wrestling like that. He's just doing move after move after move, kind of like what Juventud was doing.
You could tell
Um,
he's just trying to get his shit in.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah, that's the best way to put it. He's just trying to get all his shit in on a pay per view. It's his pay per view debut, so he thinks he's got to get everything in. It's so annoying. He does apply the short arm scissor, and Dusty Rhodes fucking pops again for this short arm scissor. He goes, "Hey, Pat O'Connor love this move. He put me in the short arm scissor for 30 minutes." I swear, that's what he's talking about. I love it when they have like retired wrestlers pop for a move. Like it's like my favorite thing. It's just like
Oh yeah.
it brings out the wrestler in them. But yeah, he loves the short arm scissor. The second time he went crazy for it. Tony Schiavone points out that Super Calo's got skater knee pads on, and I was like, yeah, that is actually very interesting that he's wearing skater knee pads. Kind of weird, but I guess it's to protect him from so that he could do more fucking crazy shit off the ring to the fucking cement floor. Um, Rey Mysterio tries to do a crossbody on Calo over the top rope, but he's not kind of going over, so the referee has to like help shove them over the top rope, which looked bad to me. Ray hits a somersault senton splash onto the floor. This match the crowd is not into at all. And this is the reason why. This match was it was heavily dominated by Super Calo, which is the wrong move.
Hmm.
He is unknown and Rey Mysterio should have been dominating, but instead Rey Mysterio is getting his ass kicked most of this match. Like 90% of this match, Rey Mysterio is getting his ass kicked. And it took me out of the match too because I'm like I don't want to this is like stupid to me. Basically on so this match continues on the apron. Ray finally starts doing some comebacks. He hits a double bounce off the rope, spinning Frankensteiner to the floor, and then Rey Mysterio hits a springboard off the top ropes from both rings. So it goes off the top rope one ring to the next one, and then he hits his Hurricane Rana cover to win the match. C plus at best. This was not what I was thinking it was going to be. I didn't like it as much. Did you like this match? Because this was a match that you were like really hyped about before we actually got here.
I liked it in the beginning, and then it just seemed like Super Calo was like he he's not Ray, he's not Juventud. He's, for example, just because you do the moves doesn't mean you're a good wrestler. It
Yes, very
seemed
good.
like he got a list of you need to hit like these 14 moves, and he's like, move number one, move number two, move
Yeah.
number three. And I think Rey Mysterio had the best intention. He's probably like, I want to make this guy look good, and also I think when they're setting the match in the back, I'm sure people are like, well, he's bigger, so he should get more of the match. But first of all, I no one knows the band Callow. It's great that Mike tonight said it on air, but like it's a weird. He just looks like an idiot. You have a guy
Yeah.
just like an idiot being the shit out of a guy who looks cool, and the moves don't connect. He's not trying to get them connect. In comparison to Psychosis and Ray and Ultimate Dragon and Ray, and even earlier Benoit, Jericho, and Juventud, they are trying to get you to. They are trying to get you to care. And he's not. He's just like move number one, move number two, ole.
So this is what they should have done. If they were like, and I get it, you made some valid points. In the back, they're probably like, well, he is bigger than you. He should be more dominant in the match. And because it's pay per view debut, you want to look good. Then I would have been, someone should have sat with Calo and been like, listen, you're going to be dominant, but we can't have you do a lot of the flashy shit. Do more of like power based moves. Clothesline this motherfucker. Clothesline this motherfucker. Like, just do German suplexes. Don't do any of the high flying shit because Ray's gonna need that to come back at the end, you know? And you're the
Mhm.
heel. You want to be dominant. Fucking clothesline this motherfucker. Hit him with body slams and shit like that. Like things like that, right? Where you get sympathy on Rey Mysterio. And you could do like one or two high flying, but leave most of it for Ray. But this guy was hitting like move from the ring to the floor 2 times in a row. It was just like, what the fuck? Like he's like, I'm gonna go from the fucking ring, fall to the fucking concrete floor, run back into the ring so I could do it again. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's so stupid. It was like dumb. Yeah. It was he's green. He's green. Uh
He
anyways.
doesn't. No, he doesn't have it, which is
He doesn't
proven
have
by
it.
in life. So
Yeah, he doesn't have it. Let's go to match number 6. A couple of guys who do have it. This is for the tag team titles. The Nasty Boys versus the Harlem Heat, the champions, who come out with Sherry Martel and Colonel Rob Parker. Um, Colonel Rob Parker, man, he's got some staying power. I mean, the Bunkhouse Buck is gone. The other guy is gone. Dick Slater's gone, but this guy is still around. Colonel Rob Parker. Stevie Ray and Jerry Sags, they start the match, and then Brian Knobbs gets in, and he just beats the crap out of Booker T. Just beats on him, and then Sherry Martel, he distracts the Nasty Boys for Harlem to start taking over. They start getting cheap shots in, and they start dominating this match. Sherry does get chased around by the Nasty Boys, uh, by both members of the Nasty Boys, different times, but she gets away every single time. Parker. What do you call it? There's a point where Jerry Sags, he's up on the top rope, and Colonel Rob Parker, he does his part. He trips him up, and then fucking Stevie Ray just blindsides this guy on a hard hit on the outside. Finally, after Jerry Sags get beat on for a while, Brian Knobbs hot tags in, and he cleans house, and he gets the cover on Booker T, but Rob Parker once again is distracting the referee, which allows Sherry to hit Brian Knobbs with Colonel Rob Parker's walking cane really hard. She breaks it over his fucking head for Booker T to cover Brian Knobbs and win the match. I gave this a B minus. It was better than average match. I liked it.
yeah, this was a pretty good tag match. I don't like Conor Rob Parker with the Harlem Heat. The whole
Yeah,
thing,
I knew you were gonna have a problem with him. Yeah.
the whole thing that this is a Southern wrestling company, and Booker T has said in the past that there was a little bit of racism, and he's walked about, I do declare, and all that bullshit. I don't know. I don't think they need him. They already have Sherry. He kind
Yeah,
of takes
it's a
Sherry.
weird stable. It's a very weird stable. They got like 2 managers. They don't like it's very weird.
I don't really need him around, and boy, they just kept him going, huh? But the match was fine. The Nasty Boys aren't long for the world. They get into an altercation with Scott Hall at a house show, and Scott Hall um, throws his weight around, and we don't see the Nasty Boys for a long time. So they're
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. It's too bad too because I've listened to both shoot interviews from both sides of the story on what happened between that. To me, 100% Scott Hall was at fault because he fucking hit him hard, and that whether or not it was an accident or not, which I believe Scott Hall is that it was an accidental thing. It didn't change the fact that he still hit this guy hard in the head, right? He hit Knobs really hard with a chair or something in the fucking head, and that's what led to it. It's unfortunate that happened because I was Nasty Boys are a good tag team. They're very good, but they also made a lot of enemies. So when you make a lot of enemies, you don't get a lot of help. You know?
And the thing about it is that, like, with the money they were making from WCW, I mean, from, I'm sorry, not WCW, from the NWO. No, no, none of these legacy WCW acts could make a stand against Scott Hall. I think Scott Hall could have shot half that roster, and they would have went with Scott Hall. It's just the
Oh,
way it is.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's dude. They they turned the business around for WCW.
Yeah,
they have every right to have the stroke they have. Like that's just what it is. I have whether the hit was intentional or not. I get
Yes.
Brian Knobs had to retaliate because you don't want to be disrespected like that, but what do you call it? It was a losing battle to begin with, right? To be
Yeah.
fair, they both made up, and since then, and they were cool before Scott Hall passed away. But that's what it was. Um, After this, Ric Flair, they start selling the Fall Brawl T-shirt for $20. Ric Flair's there's a good looking T-shirt. I was like, you know what? If you had those T-shirts now, boom, money.
I would buy that shirt. It's a good shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, hello, burp. Anyway, it's gone. We got Mike Tenay in the back. He's with Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Macho Man. He is so mad. He wants Hulk Hogan. He's cutting a promo about he's gonna get Hulk Hogan, and Mike Tenay's like, "Hey, man, don't overlook your opponent tonight. It's the Giant, not Hulk Hogan." And Macho Man goes, "You know what? You're right. You're right. I need to focus on the Giant." And then he changes his focus on the Giant and he leaves. I like this. You know what I like about Randy Savage's promos like this? He would like interact with the interviewers like this. Then he goes like, "When you're right, you're right. You're right. I'm not gonna overlook the Giant. I'm like, focusing on it." I love Savage. Savage is still so good even at this point, 1996.
He's and everything.
Still has it. Let's go to match number 7. This is another grudge match. This is Randy Savage versus the Giant. As Randy Savage, I don't know if you noticed this part, when he's walking his way to the ring, fans stick a whole bunch of Slim Jims in his face, and he just grabs this fan's Slim Jims, just takes from him. You see that? He took all these Slim Jims from this fan. I would
Oh,
have been like, no, why'd you do that? Give back my Slim Jims. So I guess he steals it. So the Giant is an NWO member now. He comes in, and Randy won't let him into the ring at all. And then they start fighting on the floor, and Randy Savage tries to body slam the Giant, and he fails because he's a Giant. And the Giant starts beating the crap out of Randy, just beating on him. Um, and Randy eventually fires back, and then he actually body slams the Giant. That was cool. It got a big pop, and then he hits the elbow drop on the Giant, his finishing move. But Hulk Hogan comes out and starts like trolling Randy Savage. So Savage comes out and starts chasing Hogan to the entranceway where the NWO, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, they come out and they start beating up on Randy Savage, while the referee is NWO referee Nick Patrick. So he's acting like he doesn't see what's going on, and he doesn't see that Randy Savage is getting beat on by 3 guys. They send the NWO send Randy Savage back into the ring for the Giant to cover him and win the match. I didn't like this. This is overkill. I gave it a C. It's just,
but what do you think about it?
what?
Because the crowd is on fire. Big Goose.
It's just overkill. Like it's just like, man, like they're just like, so Randy Savage has no friends, like, and this is just like, it's just like, I don't know. It's just stupid to like. It made Randy Savage look like an idiot to me. To me, it made him look like an idiot.
Well, that's the problem. That's the reason why eventually this leads to the company going into business. Is they consistently make WCW, not just Randy Savage, the whole of WCW look like fucking idiots.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One of people.
Yeah, it made him look like an idiot. Like everybody knows they're fucking NWO, and he's just like he like walked right into something like so stupidly. It's just so dumb
It
to
was
me.
the Nick Patrick being in. They haven't confirmed yet the fact that he is like. Also, I listened to Labs Fan. They've pointed this out for a while. Yeah. Oh yeah. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, Moose. Okay.
Yeah.
The idea of Nick Patrick checking Big Show or John, whatever the fuck his name is, for for a concussion while the NWO just beating the crap out of Randy Savage, and the announcer like, what the fuck is this guy doing? That's a funny idea. Here's the problem: Nick Patrick has the wrong plate. He's not standing in the right place. What I mean by that is he's standing to the side So most normal human beings would see to the side of their eyes Randy Savage being beat up. If he had his back to the aisle, right? If Nick Patrick's back's to the aisle, it works perfectly. But Nick Patrick is so bad at this. He's not good. By the way, Nick Patrick is not a good referee. He's not a good performer. For some reason, well, I know the reason. His dad worked for the company, as well as Jody Hamilton. He's not
Yeah.
good. The idea behind it is very good, but he kind of fucks it up. You know, in a way, if they said like, "Hey, the other guys were gonna come out and help, but they're busy getting ready for their match," this would have been better. But you're right. You know who also, and I want to ask him this question because I don't think anyone asked him. Do you think Paul White? Do you think the Big Show understands this first year of booking is why he never really became like the star he should have been? The fact that like he's being slammed by Randy Savage, he's just made to look like a goof, and Hogan's like bitch for a year now, and this is like literally his first year, and they're not protecting him and his giant status. Do you think he understands that that's why he went nowhere, really? I mean, he made a. I
I
mean,
don't I don't think he understood it his first year, right?
mhm,
Because I think he was just like, these guys are stars, and I'm the new guy. I'm just gonna do what they tell me to do, right? And he just gonna
mhm.
take it because that's probably how it is. I think now him as a veteran, looking back, he probably sees it. Yeah, probably understands that those were the wrong things to do with a giant his size. But that's also why he leaves WCW. I mean, part of it was not a well run place.
He could have left this night. I think the damage was already done. They keep doing more damage to this guy, by the way. But the first year, the way Hogan booked him, he never. I don't think. I think to this day he hasn't recovered. Um, but I will say that. I will say that I enjoyed this match in this segment because it was so over the top and because it's so chaotic and because it's like I don't think it does any good for Savage or the Giant, but I think a lot of things that are done coming up are entertaining, but the only person they serve are Hogan.
Mm.
And and the problem is it works fine now in September of 96. And I think people like in September of 96, people like, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt because this is a lot of fun. And eventually it's gonna come back around, but it never does. It never does. And now we have AEW, sadly.
Yeah. I would say okay. So let's keep going. So Mike Tenay, we're getting ready for our main event.
Mhm.
Mike Tenay's in the back. He's with Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, the two women, and Lex Luger. And Mike Tenay's asking about what about Sting? He's supposed to be your fourth guy, right, for the War Games. And he's like, Sting or no Sting, it doesn't matter. This is the house the Horsemen have built. We built this house. We did it without Sting. Well, so we don't need him even now. And then as they're cutting a promo, Sting does show up and he confronts them and he's like, guys, I told you that wasn't me. That came out of the car that looked like me and that attacked Lex Luger. That wasn't me. And Lex Luger's best friend's like, I don't believe you, Sting. I've been waiting to come face to face with you and talk to you about this, and I don't believe you. And Sting gets annoyed and he walks out. This is another part I just don't understand. It's just kind of like I get the gist of the story, but it seems so stupid to me.
Well, here's what they did. I think they thought the great hook for the pay per view is Sting is going to be on the NWO side, right? But they
Yeah,
should. All you have to do is add one or two lines, or one or two like sketches. Average player say, "Did you call Sting this weekend?" I did. He's not picking up. I did. He's not picking up. And and then when Lex and Sting talks, it was like I had some family things. That's why I wasn't at Nitro. But like Lex, like I wanted to talk to you face to face and say that's not me. How could you think that's me? Um, but the way they did it, it looked Lex saw that guy go in the limo, doesn't call Sting, doesn't
yeah.
go,
And
doesn't
they're supposed to be like best friends too, right? This is so
don't make.
stupid.
I'm wondering if see if they cover this on Nitro. I apologize. I'm wondering if Sting ever says to Lex, "I had your back against the Mega Powers and everybody. Even when you joined the Dungeon of Doom, I still had your back, and you're gonna just right away not give me the benefit of the doubt." the first time it seems that I might be turning on people, you turned on everyone, and I still had your back. Like how?
Yeah,
And maybe they do say that on Nitro. Maybe they do, and we're or Saturday night, as he becomes the Crow. But I would have liked that. Like that's a layer that I would have liked. And
I
again,
don't think they did. And you know why? Because they would have had it in these little promo montages if they did do that.
after this show,
They shouldn't have done it afterwards. They should have done it before. This makes no sense. This is stupid. See, all right. Okay. Anyway, this is why I just find it stupid. Let's just say that. I just find it stupid. Let's go to,
I,
I want to, yeah.
it, the general idea of we can't trust anybody because of the NWO, no Sting, we don't believe you. But I do think there should have been a longer segment of Sting trying to plead his case than standing their ground, and then Sting's anger towards them is then more justified. You know?
Yeah. And you know what? It's a good idea. It's just executed and communicated very poorly. It's
Because
honestly it's like Ant-Man Quantum Menace. Great idea. If you
Mhm.
if you actually just read the Wikipedia, it actually sounds like a good idea, the story of the basis of the movie. But when you watch it, it's so poorly done. Things aren't communicated well. Things are just like not explained and just go rush into it. It ends up being a bad fucking movie, right? And that's kind of like what this is. It's like it's a great idea. Which side is Sting on? It's a great cliffhanger that leads to this war games, but it's so poorly like explained or executed that I just can't. I just think it's stupid. But we're gonna get into this main event. This is the war games match. So the way it works is there's two rings and it's surrounded by a cage. But unlike the previous war games, and this is the part actually, this is one of the things they do correct. Everybody's not all out at once. They're gonna just come down as they get picked, which is smarter. That's almost like a Royal Rumble kind of concept, entrance kind of coming in, which I like better. So it is the NWO. It is Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash against Arn Anderson, Lex Luger, and Ric Flair. And no Sting comes out, right? So Scott Hall comes out first with Ted DiBiase, and Arn Anderson then comes out. So these two guys are gonna start the match. They start wrestling. Then Nash comes out after like the 2 minute mark. Then Lex Luger comes out for the good guy side, for WCW side, and then Hulk Hogan comes out for the NWO side. And then Ric Flair comes out for the WCW side, and he pulls out some brass knuckles, and he starts using brass knuckles, and he starts low blowing people. So that part was kind of fun because he's still the same Ric Flair. He's still a fucking guy who cheats. I can't hear you. What?
crowd loves him. They're chanting, "We want Flair."
Yeah,
We want.
I actually like that too. I mean, they are in North Carolina. They are in North Carolina, so I'll give them that. But I like this concept that Ric Flair has not changed. He's still a heel. He's still a fucking dastardly bad guy, but he's our bad guy. You know, he's like our and it's like we're gonna use our worst guy against you guys or who are the outsiders, right? And then remember, this is supposed to be 4-on-4. So who is the fourth member of the NWO? Well, out comes Sting, who comes out to some booze, and he starts attacking all the WCW members like Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and so forth. And then the real Sting comes out, who confronts the fake Sting, and he just starts cleaning house. He beats up everybody, and then he turns to his friends and he goes, "Was that good enough for you guys?" And then he just leaves and this deflates the entire crowd. Everyone's just like, "What the fuck is happening?" Nobody's interested. It almost gets deathly quiet in there. The NWO Sting and Hulk Hogan, they both put on submission moves on Lex Luger. Um, as Nash tries to come in, he gets his fucking leg tangled up with the fucking the camera cords. Did you see that in the background? He's trying to untangle himself while Lex Luger's submitting. It's really funny. So Lex Luger quits, he submits, and the NWO win. So that means they get some of the demands gonna get to be like applied. Before I get to the rest of this bullshit, as a match, this is a C. It's stupid. It's an average match. It's just stupid. To me, it's dumb. Just
What's
before we talk about the ending, what did you think about just the match, start to finish?
I liked it. I thought this was the not the best war games. I think we've seen. I think the Danger Alliance, but I think like this is the best use of the war games gimmick. Um, it was a little bit too fast paced for me. I think they should have spaced out the entrance. You know, I think it was
Okay.
a little fast. Maybe you cut like Ice Train's match and give more time to this. But I liked the match itself. I liked what they're going for with Sting. It's everything after, yeah, it gets a little bit too much, but in terms of keeping the story going, I like it. What did you think was bullshit?
So much of this, like number one, this concept of like there's another fake Sting is stupid to me. I
Mhm.
never I never liked it. That was just really dumb. I just don't like that idea. You like that idea? That's just there's their version of Sting. Like that's stupid.
I like it for this match, and then you never see the guy again. I don't like it that it keeps going. I like the fact that they are, the thing about these WCW guys is they were enemies forever. They didn't trust Sting doesn't trust Flair. Flair doesn't trust Luger. Arn doesn't trust. So they don't like each other. So they're not a team. It's just that there are guys. You know what I'm saying? So using a fake Sting to like ruin the relationships that these guys are trying. These guys are trying to be friends again, rooting or putting a hurt on it. I like that idea. Yeah, and I like the idea of Sting being like, I'm not WCW and I'm not NWO. I'm nothing because no matter what I've done, I get shit on. And I like that idea. Yeah.
To me, that was stupid. Where he just comes in, beats everybody up, goes, "See, is that good enough for you?" And then he leaves. Like that's such a fucking. It screams immaturity
Well,
to me. I
punctual.
think
He the crow
I
and
think
learned to be a man. He's still a
I
kid.
think dude, I think majority of the fans who were watching felt the same way I did because there was no reaction after that.
They don't know what's coming. He's going to be the crow. But I think they wanted you to feel that way for Sting. They want you to be like not when he walks out. You're not supposed to cheer or boo him. You're supposed to be confused because of the transformation he's about to take.
Ah, interesting. We'll have to get. You know what? If you guys are listening to this, let us know if you like this match. We're obviously split. Ray likes this match. I think this was not a good War Games match. It's just average. To me, it's so much of it is stupid. But you guys, if you're listening, you gotta let us know what you guys feel about
Here,
just the match.
Andrew, here's the thing about Sting in this match, and I think
Okay.
why. The thing about it is that the fans generally don't know what to think about Sting until March. They still, when they get to March, people still honestly believed he could be NWO or he could be WCW. So when he finally makes a decision to go against the NWO in March, which is what they build to, the explosion makes him the hottest babyface in the country until they ruin it in December. So like you're not supposed to know what to think about this guy at this point. That's the desired effect. And I know that's because they've never no one's ever tried to do that where it's like we don't want you to cheer, we just want you to be confused. But the confusion when you get confirmation of yeah, he's a good guy. The pop and how over he becomes is one of the biggest things they've ever done.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So after this match, the NWO just continue to beat on WCW, just beating on him. Lex Luger starts crawling
Like,
in the walkway, crawling for Sting. He's like, Sting,
dude, that
Sting.
was really well done. That was really well done. They are really effectively like the WCW guys are really like these three guys. They're really doing their best to get the NWO over. Like they're really giving it. They're giving you. People have said Luger doesn't know how to put people over. He's doing it in the fucking aisleway. You know.
Yeah, his crawling for Sting, and he gets beat on some more. Randy Savage comes and he joins the fight, and he throws Hulk Hogan back into the ring because he wants a piece of Hulk Hogan. But then the Giant comes back out, and he gets beat up by the Giant some more. And then another part that's confusing. Fucking Liz runs out and she covers Randy Savage. I'm like, why? Isn't this the fucking bitch who just like left Savage and Hogan went on up did a promo like everybody knows they've been separated, but now she's You're going like, no, Randy, not Randy. Don't beat up on Randy. Even though I helped Ric Flair beat the shit out of this guy, please don't beat up Randy.
They should have gave her a mic to be like,
Yeah,
they
stupid.
should have had Hogan and her go back and forth in the mic.
Dude, it's not even. This was like literally just like a few months ago. You know, it's
No,
like,
but I think if she said like, I can't see, I really do care for him. I've realized now, seeing him in pain, I care for him.
yeah, but
Um,
they didn't. The fact is, they didn't. So it looks stupid.
Hogan, Tony Schiavone tell you it. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, Liz runs out. Even though she's fucking Ric Flair, she doesn't care about Ric Flair. She's covering Randy Savage, and she's like, "Please don't spray Randy." But Hogan's like, "Fine, I'm gonna spray you instead." So he sprays NWO on Liz's dress, and then, um, okay. To be fair, yeah, this doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm basing it all on things making sense. But let me tell you, this is the reason why they sent Liz out. She gets a lot of sympathy. She always will. Something about her face, something about Liz, just she just connects with the fans, and she'll always get sympathy. And when Hulk Hogan sprays Liz, Hogan starts getting a Hogan sucks chant. Okay, now it's important to note, even though Hogan's a bad guy during this match and this whole thing, he was getting cheers. He was like the cool heel. And they needed to do something like this to get people to be like, "Oh, fuck you, Hogan." And I get why this is why they did it.
You know what
Ray,
I would do?
go
You know
ahead.
what I
What
would
were you saying?
building on. See, also the reason why this whole works is they're building on Vince's stories. You know that I think a lot of this stuff works because of what Vince said, not because of what they
Yeah,
set up.
yeah.
I would have Hogan punch her and then spray paint her. Can you imagine if Hogan decked her? Because
You know what?
Hogan, what
You know what? Okay, yes, I get what you're saying, but
actor?
yeah, yeah, I know, but he didn't have to go that far because just this. Okay, what he does is he starts yelling at her. He calls her trash. He says, "You and Randy, you're both trash." And you're right. You're playing off of the WWF storyline. These guys used to be a unit, and he's just trashing on them. And he spits on Liz. He does a spin where he spits on Liz.
Does spit on
And after that,
her.
trash starts filling the ring again. People start throwing garbage at him. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you're right. I get what you're saying with this, but he didn't. I get what you're saying. He should have just hit her, but they didn't. They could save that for later because
Never hits her. So what
yeah,
is what?
this
It's too late.
Elizabeth. Yeah, Elizabeth is just like I said. She's just like, if you want somebody to be like hated, you throw her in there, and you have this person like do bad things to her. Um, So the Giant spray paints NWO on Randy Savage as well, anyways. And Hogan and Giant, they mug for the camera. Hogan spits on the camera. They choke a Giant choke slams Randy Savage one more time. So anyway, and then they focus on the commentary team and their commentary booth area, and they're just like, this is no, this is not good. The NWO is beating us. Look what they did to WCW. Well, what are we gonna do? What can we do? And when they're trying to discuss this, Hogan comes in and joins the commentary area. Bobby the Brain Heenan just runs the fuck out of there, which I love because that shows his character. He's still staying true to his character. He's a coward at the end of the day, right?
Mhm.
And Tony Schiavone just like what do you call it? And he leaves Dusty and Tony Schiavone there, and Hogan has a sign that says NWO Country, and he calls Dusty Rhodes, "Hey, daydreamer, get the fuck out of here." I love that part. Calling him a daydreamer. Dusty kind of wants to face off with Hogan, but he knows his wrestling days are over, so he has to just walk away. Tony Schiavone walks away, and all
Ruined.
the NWO, they come and join commentary, and they say we're taking over. DiBiase gets on the fucking headset and he goes, "Hey, we won the match. We have a list of demands. We're gonna start using them. Just be aware of that." This commentary thing, I did like. I did
Yeah,
like that.
I love
So
that because it's just because there's no aspect of the show that's safe. There's no aspect, and if you're watching in real time, you're like at any given moment they could just beat up Dusty and Tony. Like,
yeah,
what if
yeah,
they just tried to destroy those two guys? You know, like you just don't know. You don't know. No one's safe at this moment from Hogan.
we've had a decade, legit like a decade or more, even more than a decade of the commentators always signing off the pay-per-view, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time where it's like completely interrupted and it ends with the bad guy standing tall, even taking over the commentary team. It's it was like very unique for its time, you
Yeah.
know? And the ending is done well. So I agree with you. That part is done well. I like I said from the beginning of this pay-per-view, I didn't think it was that good for like the reason why is because some of those cruiserweight matches, the formula is there, but some of the
Mm-hmm.
cruiserweight matches aren't good, right?
Mm-hmm.
NWO storyline is there, but some of it doesn't make any sense to me. So that's why I'm like, ugh. But overall, if you were like in 1986, who's better, WCW or WWF? I'll be like, dude, it's not even a fucking fair question. That's
Not
not
even
even like, that's like asking me what's better, WWE or like TNA. I'm gonna be like, dude, come on. That's
yeah.
literally what it's like. It's like the comparison. That's what it's like. It's just not.
You
It's
know,
just not a fair comparison.
it would have gone a long way. It would have gone a long way for like Super Calo and Harlem Heat to run out. And even if they got the crap beat out of them in the outside in the aisle, you know,
Yeah.
and then like Tony was like, okay, the other wrestlers don't want to come out because look what happened to them. That would have went a long way. The fact that nobody even attempts just makes everyone in the locker room look like losers. The problem with this storyline, the problem with this storyline is that yes, the NWO is great. They're WWF guys, okay? And you keep telling us that the underlining message of this storyline is WWF is better than WCW. That's the message of this storyline. And WCW like whimpering and cowering and all that, it just went too far until the point where there was no point of no return because the moment that Austin and Rock got their swag, they were done because you once you got rid of the NWO, it's like, well, now it's just these losers, and there was never a payoff. You
Yeah.
know? Can
Mm-hmm.
you like imagine like I don't know, like 1998, they're beating up Sting in the ring, and not even 1998 might have been too, just like 97, 97. Let's say summer of 97. They're beating up well Savage is on the NWO, but they're beating up Luger, the Steiners, every Ric Flair, everyone. And then like Eddie Guerrero and Benoit and Jericho and DDP walk out and they beat the shit out of the NWO. Like they just beat the crap out of them and send them. I like imagine the pop that would have got, like the unexpected, like I can't believe this, you know? Um, and they
And you
just
know what else could have happened if they had keep doing that? Eventually, guys would have in WWF would have been leaving again, and then you have a new resurgence in NWO, and then you have the new version of NWO, maybe like a Bret Hart in there, versus the new face of WCW. This could have been their bloodline saga that just keeps going on and never ends. But they fucked. At the end of the day, they fucked it up. It doesn't even matter. They fucked it up.
I, I can tell I'm loving it. I'm gonna get so annoyed when we get to like Starcade '97 and all this shows. You know what annoys me about Eric Bischoff? You know what really gets me about him is that he'll be asked, and I think this is arrogance when he says this. If you could change anything, would you? I wouldn't change a thing. And I want to be like, you know what? Then you should go fuck yourself. All right?
Yeah,
Because if
yeah.
you change things, I'm gonna be over dramatic when I say this. If you did change some things, Canyon would still be alive. Eddie Guerrero would still be alive. If you did change some fucking things, she's fucking scumbag.
Dude,
Because
I would have changed things on this pay per view. That was someone like, dude, there was like Eric Bischoff. This is why I don't like listening. This is why I don't listen to him at all. He's a fucking he's an idiot. You know,
so
I
listen,
wouldn't change a single thing. Go fuck yourself, Eric Bischoff. Go
yeah,
dye your hair, dude.
go sell some mortgages. All right, you ready for this?
Yeah, yeah.
It looks bad for Vinnie Mac. It looks bad for the Vinnie Mac attack. But let me tell you what's happening in the next 4 weeks because it looks pretty bad for Vince McMahon and WWF, right? Well, in 1 week we have In Your House Mind Games, which by the way will be our WrestleMania preview episode. And that features Mankind versus Shawn Michaels. Then in 2 weeks we have In Your House Buried Alive, which features Undertaker versus Mankind in a Buried Alive match. And then in 3 weeks we have Halloween Havoc 96, which features Macho Man versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan. But now in 4 weeks, we have Survivor Series 96. The main event of that is Sid versus Shawn Michaels. But it looks bad for Vince, right? Well, guess what else happens to Survivor Series 96? We had the debut of Rocky Maivia. And WCW is fucked. And they don't know they're fucked.
They won't be fucked for a while, though.
They won't be fucked for a while, but
Yeah.
Rock is 4 weeks away, bro. What do you think about that, huh? The Rock, 4 weeks away. Can you believe we made
I
it to the
can't wait to
Rock?
see it. Rock is gonna be. He is one of my favorites of all time, so I'm looking forward to that. But I will say this: we've been doing this. There's a pay per view from both sides every month, and we're comparison. So even though I wasn't a big fan of Fall Brawl, I still acknowledge that this WWF Mind Games, they gotta bring it because it's still a fucking tough hill to climb. I don't know if they're gonna. They're
And
probably not gonna. What's it right now? 3-1.
no, it's hold on, June, July. Well, yeah, 3-1 is the
Three to
score.
one. So yeah, they're if I don't know when they're gonna start having like let's see if Mind Games, which is the same, which is their September WWF September pay per view. Let's see if Mind Games is as good as Fall Brawl. Let's see. Well, I'm looking forward to it. You told me there's a big match in it, so we'll see.
Jim Cornette versus the guy, the Jose,
Oh my god,
one of the
that's
matches.
the next. All right, well, fuck. This is stupid. Then I can't. I'm looking forward to the WCW pay per view. Then all right.
So, guys, that's the show. I love, dude. I love the fact that we're like WWE has to bring it. Meanwhile, WCW's been out of business for 25 years. I think they brought it eventually.
Yeah, they better bring it this.
They better step it up. Did you see that? Did you see what did you see the angle with Miss Elizabeth? You gotta bring it, bro. It's broad. It gets broad, all right. It get fucking Buff Bagwell's been living in a trailer for the last 25 years. I think it's gonna. But I love it. Dude. I miss WCW, man. I miss it. If AEW was half as good as this, I'd be loving life. All right.
Yeah.
That's the show. Subscribe to the show. Leave some comments. Leave some. Dude, I think this podcast has been better than ever lately. I think maybe it's because I'm living in California. Maybe it's because WCW just became must-see TV. But I'm loving this
Mm-hmm.
show. And spread the word to the four of you. Spread the word to your friends. Come on, guys. Help us out here. I think we're better than Jamie from New York and Sean Ross Sapp and the guy who just died, Kevin Castle. So let's get some controversy. Fuck the guy who just died. All right, there you go. We got to get
All
something, right, Andrew?
Yeah, I don't even know who that is, but yeah.
Good. All right. Yeah. All right, guys. That's our time. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week for Mind Games and the WrestleMania preview.
Oh yeah.